In 1946, he died a hero. In 2025, his ideas may break the system they once saved. Keynes rebuilt a shattered world. But he never met a trillion-dollar deficit. Or politicians allergic to restraint. As Finney used to say, copying the homework is easy. Understanding the assignment is harder. This isn't the rise of Keynes, it's the hangover, the part where the short run lasts forever. Keynes assumed governments would save in the good years, stack cash, build buffers, prepare for storms. It was supposed to be cyclical, spend in the bad times, save in the good, balance over time. But modern democracies, they run deficits in war, deficits in peace, deficits in booms, deficits in boredom, deficits when the economy's growing, deficits when it's shrinking, deficits when there's no emergency at all, just elections to win. They spend in peacetime and boldly brand debt as investment. They call it infrastructure, call it stimulus, call it recovery, call it whatever polls best. The language changes, the deficit doesn't. As Finney used to say, if you never save during sunshine, you can't blame the rain for drowning you. Japan tried stimulus again and again. Lost decades. 30 years later, still stuck, still stimulating, still waiting for the payoff. They built bridges to nowhere, poured concrete over coastlines, subsidized zombies companies kept alive by cheap credit, producing nothing, innovating never, just existing. And still, the deflation lingered. Still, the growth never returned. Keynes designed a fire extinguisher, a tool for emergencies. Use it fast. Put out the fire, move on. Politicians turned it into life support. A permanent IV drip. The economy didn't recover, it became dependent. As Finney used to say, it's not the spending that ruins you, it's forgetting to stop. Stimulus doesn't work the way it used to. It doesn't build factories anymore. It doesn't raise wages. It doesn't retrain workers. It doesn't create real productivity. It doesn't fix broken incentives. It doesn't cure the disease. It just numbs the symptoms. But it does inflate house prices. It does raise stock valuations. It sends Pokemon cards to $300,000. It turns Dogecoin into an economic event. It makes NFTs of pixelated apes worth millions. It makes basic groceries feel like luxury items. Eggs, milk, bread, things that used to be background noise in a budget are now line items people notice. Rent isn't housing anymore. It's a subscription to survive. This isn't economics. This is a malfunctioning machine. A Rube Goldberg contraption held together with duct tape and optimism. Congress sneezes, and the markets get $1 trillion tissue. The Fed whispers, and entire industries pivot. One tweet from a central banker can move billions in seconds. As Finney used to say, if money is the medicine, eventually the dose stops healing and starts hurting. Stimulus today doesn't wake the economy. It keeps it from flatlining. It's not recovery. It's resuscitation. The economy has developed a dependency, a tolerance, an addiction, even. Raise rates by even 1%. Tech stocks bleed. Housing freezes. Banks wobble. Retirement accounts crater. Credit markets seize. Layoffs accelerate. The entire system convulses at the mere thought of normal interest rates. Stimulus doesn't restart growth anymore. It prevents collapse. This isn't boosting demand. This is fighting withdrawal symptoms. Every time they try to taper, the economy shakes. Markets panic. Politicians backpedal, and the money flows again. Japan lived it. Decades of stimulus. Decades of low rates. Decades of hoping the next package would be the one that works. Britain flirted with it. Austerity, then panic. Stimulus, then inflation. Back and forth like a pendulum that never finds center. Argentina lives inside it. Perpetual crisis. Perpetual printing. Perpetual promises that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow is always the same. And now even the United States, the supposedly unbreakable engine. The exorbitant privilege, the reserve currency, the indispensable nation, feels the same trap closing. The debt ceiling isn't a limit anymore. It's a suggestion, a formality. Political theater before the inevitable increase. As Finney used to say, if the economy needs constant rescue, maybe it's not being rescued. Maybe it's being kept on life support. We built a system allergic to normal, allergic to recessions, even the mild cleansing kind. Allergic to failure, even when failure is information. Allergic to discipline, even when discipline is survival. We smoothed every bump, bailed out every mistake, backstopped every risk, and in doing so, we removed the signals. Pain is a signal. Loss is a signal. Bankruptcy is a signal. Signals tell you what's working and what isn't. They guide resources, they punish waste. They reward efficiency, but we muted the signals. Now capital flows everywhere and nowhere. Zombie companies linger. Bad ideas get funded. Good ideas drown in noise. What happens when the next crisis hits and money isn't enough? Not the next recession, the next real crisis. What happens when the toolbox is empty? Can you stimulate a world already drowning in liquidity? Can you cut rates when rates barely exist? Can you print credibility? Can you borrow trust? Can democracy survive when voters punish discipline and reward dopamine economics? When every politician who says we need to save gets voted out, and everyone who says free money gets reelected? As Finney used to say, Every bubble teaches the same lesson. But humans keep hoping they're the exception. The tool that once saved capitalism may now be the tool that breaks it. Not with a bang, not with a crash, but with a slow, suffocating dependence. The short run has become the only run, and that run is out of road. The exits are closing, the options are narrowing. When old tools stop working, governments don't stop. They don't admit failure. They don't say, we were wrong. They innovate. Fiscal dominance, where central banks stop being independent and start being obedient. Silent debt, restructuring, inflate away obligations, pretend it's not default, call it financial repression. Wealth extraction through invisible siphons, negative real rates, inflation taxes, currency debasement dressed as policy, central bank digital currencies, money they can track, money they can program, money they can expire, money with terms and conditions, managed capitalism, where markets exist, but only inside the lanes governments draw. You can invest, but only in approved sectors. You can trade, but only within guardrails. You can succeed, but only if it aligns with the plan. It's not freedom, it's not socialism, it's control with a market aesthetic, as Finney used to say. When the system stops working, the people in charge stop asking permission. This is the world after Keynes, not free market, not socialist, something new and not fully admitted, a hybrid, a mutation, an experiment running in real time with 8 billion test subjects. Keynes told governments to act in the short run. He believed in markets, he believed in adjustment. He believed that, in the long run, things would balance. He never imagined a world where the short run would last forever, where temporary measures become permanent, where emergency powers become normal, where the exception becomes the rule. And now, a century later, the bill has arrived. Not for him, but for us. He's been gone for 80 years. But we're still living in his shadow, still using his playbook, still pretending it's 1936, except it's not. The world has changed, the debt has compounded, the dependencies have deepened, and the reckoning is no longer theoretical. As Finney used to say, sooner or later, every tab gets paid, and the collector never accepts excuses. You can delay, you can deny, you can distract, but you can't escape. Gravity always wins. Math always settles. Reality always collects. The only question is, who pays, and how much will it cost? If history taught you something today, subscribe. This is only the beginning of our post-Keynesian series, because what comes next won't look like the past. And understanding it might be the only edge you have.